Hello and welcome to Darkside Scenics. In this video I'm going to show you how I made this Stone Bridge Diorama with the Creality Falcon 2 laser cutter. The laser cutter was sent to me for review, but as always I'll be giving you my honest opinion. Starting off with a brief look at what's inside the box, it's very neatly packed and it has everything you need to get started. My first thoughts are very positive as the Falcon 2 is already assembled. I want to be very clear that I was sent the upgraded combo package plus some additional extras. If you do buy one online, please check what you're getting before you purchase. In the box you get a quick instruction guide and some test materials. The toolbox holds the keys, USB, TF card, a spare lens, a lens cloth and some additional tools and bits and pieces. Although it's pre-assembled, you just need to screw in 4 feet, which also have extensions if required. The laser bed in the combo pack was quite small, but they very kindly sent me a larger one which was a much better fit. The air pump plugs into the left of the machine, just underneath the dial for the manual air control. The air hose from the machine is simply pushed onto the air pump, and the laser module is held in place with 2 screws. The laser is connected to the power and the other end of the air hose is also connected. The power cable plugs into the right of the machine just underneath the slots for the TF card and the USB. Before using the machine, it's sensible just to download the latest firmware from the Creality website. Once downloaded, you need to drag the file onto the provided USB and TF card. It's a 2-step process, with the first file being for the machine. When that's finished, you need to use the same process to drag the firmware upgrade for the laser module onto the USB stick. For the laser module, you need to use the provided USB-C connector. The Creality Enclosure is one of the recommended extras to ensure you can remove fumes safely. The kit has a simple frame design and is very quick to put together. The extractor fan is installed before the hose is attached. The hose can be placed out of a window or a garage door. In my case I installed a vent so there was a permanent solution. Some test files are included on the TF card, so I thought I'd try those first. You just need to drag the G-code file onto the USB stick on your PC. Then insert the TF card into the Falcon and set the height based on the material you're cutting. The frame button on the front of the machine is really useful, as the laser will provide a guide on where to put the material. While it's cutting, you might notice that there's a red light on the laser module. This is due to a mistake I made with the connection of the air hose. This isn't such an issue on a small quick project, but if the machine was using more power at a slower speed, the machine would cut out due to its safety features. The next test was the Creality Mascot, which is a cut and engrave project. Considering the airflow is disconnected, it did a really good job of not leaving any burn marks. One of the advantages of the Falcon is that you can adjust the airflow manually with the built-in dial on the side. Due to the airflow being disconnected, I needed to clean the lens. This is a simple process of disconnecting the power and the air hose to the laser module, unscrewing the laser module from the machine and using the toolkit provided. There is a spare lens in the kit, but I don't want to use that yet, I just want to clean the one that's currently in the laser. There are 2 parts to unscrew before you get to the rubber seal and the lens. The lens is cleaned with the soft cloth provided before reassembling. To design the bridge, I'm using Lightburn software. I'm still quite new to Lightburn, but I managed to create an arch with a keystone. My initial idea was to use rectangular bricks using the array feature in Lightburn. However, I changed my mind and decided I wanted a natural stone look. To do this, I borrowed my daughter's iPad and used a program called Procreate. This allowed me to draw the stones by hand on the template I started with. I transferred the image from the iPad onto my Mac and then used the trace function in Lightburn. Then it was just a case of aligning it with the template. To ensure the arch stones have a 3D effect, I've put a laser cut on each joint. With the design completed, I transferred the G-code file onto the TF card. Filming through the enclosure window wasn't easy, so I apologise for the shaky footage. This is 3mm MDF, but for the inner parts of the bridge and the capping stones I'm using 1.5mm MDF. I'm also cutting out some keystones so they're slightly higher than the rest of the stone. The final part is to create the stones under the arch. This needs to bend, so I'm going to use 0.6mm polyback. The engraving is quite fine, so it's hard to see, but at this angle it's more obvious. To help the arch keep its shape, I cut some support pieces. To speed up the process, I'm using superglue to fix the pieces together. Before being glued, the arch is gently pushed into shape. The support pieces act as a guide for the arch, but I'd probably design this slightly differently next time. For the baseboard, I used a website called MakerCase. This is one of many websites which allows you to download files for your laser cutter. Once downloaded, I imported the file into Lightburn to fit it all onto one sheet. This is 6mm MDF, but the Falcon had no problem cutting through it. Once glued together, the baseboard is incredibly strong. For the edges of the diorama, I created another simple box and then downloaded it into Lightburn. Now it's in Lightburn, I can make some slight adjustments to the shape to fit my diorama. The sides are superglued onto the base, which means I can move on to the Scenics. To build up the terrain either side of the bridge, I'm using some Celotex. When the foam is cut, I can try the bridge for size. Now I'm happy it fits, I can use some grey primer as a base. Then some plaster of Paris is brushed in to give the effect of pointing. It's given a misting of watered down washing up liquid to hold it in place. Then a selection of grey and brown washes are added randomly to the stonework. Now the stonework is painted, I can glue the bridge permanently in place. The shape of the terrain is going to be made up using a sculpt mould. Some cheap brown acrylic paint is watered down to create a base colour. While that's drying, I add some polyfiller to create the road leading up to the bridge. I'll be using some resin for the water feature, so I'm adding this latex paint to create a seal. The road is then given a light coat of grey paint. Matte Mod Podge is brushed onto the earth areas before the earth texture is sprinkled over. And a grey tarmac texture is sprinkled over the road. The riverbed is started by gluing on some larger stones and twigs. To ensure the dirt and the road texture holds in place, it's given a light spray of watered down washing up liquid and then some scenic glue. The riverbed is added to with some ballast, smaller stones and some greenery. After being left for a day to dry, I can start work on the static grass. Basing glue is brushed on and then followed up with some 2mm European WWS grass. The excess is vacuumed and then followed up with some 4mm patchy grass. To add some variety, some bushes are glued on in random places. After the seafoam tree is glued in place, I use a variety of green and brown scatters to blend everything together. The effect on the road is quite coarse, so I'm using some more weathering powder to make it slightly smoother. This is followed by some black and green weathering powder to create streaks on the bridge. Masking tape is added to either end to create a dam for the resin. I had a very small amount of resin left, but it was just enough for this project. After it's been thoroughly mixed, it can be poured onto the diorama and left for 24 hours to dry. A day later, I can paint all of the sides black to give it a nice finish, and brush on some gloss Mod Podge and blow through a straw to create ripple effects. This was a very enjoyable project and the Creality Falcon 2 was very easy to use. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I'll be putting together another laser cut video in the next few weeks, so please look out for that. Thanks for watching.